Hello YouTube viewers and welcome back to Workout Wednesdays. Today I wanted to discuss with you and break down the overhead press. So working on trying to build some shoulder strength, some tricep strength, right? And just overall balanced body strength, right? And consequently your coordination. So being able to basically lift things overhead and keep it there, right? By rolling out the lats and making sure that you have that full range of motion and bring your arm overhead. A lot of people have a hard time getting there. They end up bending their elbow. They can't quite get there. No, you should be able to have a straight arm all the way up. Shoulder blade locked down into its socket, not reaching up here, right? You want to be stable. Let's go ahead and get right into the different variations of the overhead press. All right, so there are a couple different ways in which to execute the overhead press. I'm going to show you with a band just because it's going to be the simplest way to give a demonstration, but you can do this with dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells, right? I'm using a resistance band, again, just to show this in an easier format. So you can see how I have the handles in front, right? They're not in back. You could do it this way. I just find that it is less intense as far as friction on the arms to do it this way, right? That way it's not rubbing against the back of your arms. So two different ways to hold the band. You can either have the handles in front, which is my personal preference, or switch to the back, right? Totally up to you as long as that wrist is straight, right? So you don't want a kinked wrist, you want to keep it straight. Second part of this, you want to squeeze your butt muscles together and pull your belly button in. That way your lower back and hips are supported and stable for this overhead move, right? So you're going to inhale. As you exhale, you're going to press up overhead. Inhale back down, and exhale, press overhead. We'll do an example with the band in front of my wrist instead of behind. Overhead. And back down, and back down, right? And that's pretty much going to be the same scenario for dumbbells, kettlebells. Now with barbells, it's a little bit different. So with the barbell, the bottom still stays the same, although you might want a little bit of a wider base for your feet, right? When I had the band underneath, it made sense to keep them close. Now doing dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, it's a little bit different. You want to have a wider base because you're probably going to have a lot more weight. It's a little more unstable. If it's too much resistance band, well then there's too much resistance band. There's not really a lot it can go. It can boom, come back down, but that's it. With free weights, it's a little more unstable. You have to have a wider base. So it's working a little more of those stabilizer muscles. So with the barbell, usually a lot of times it's the clean to press, right? Or, this has become very popular lately, I've noticed this, the overhead lunging, which I do a lot of with my kettlebells. I'm starting to do a lot more with that, right? There's that individual or one-sided stability workout. Instead of having one thing where, yeah, you're doing stability, but you have a team, each arm's helping out. So you may have one compensating more for the other that's not as strong. When you're doing it isolated, it's a little bit more intense, a little more challenging, and it will balance out both sides. So they're a little more even as far as strength and stability is concerned. So let's go ahead and show you what this looks like. You're going to bring it up and then press it up overhead. Now, a good way to kind of tell where your hand should be on the bar, a really simple way to do it is you put the bar on the top of your head and you can check yourself out in the mirror or have somebody help you out with this. Try to get your elbows to about 90 degrees, right? Then bring it up. That's a pretty stable position. And once you realize that, check out the markings on the bar and you can, most barbells have like sectioned texture and you can find your grip. And if you have any sort of weightlifting experience with barbells, you understand what I'm talking about and you probably already have a good base as far as measuring where your hand should be, especially for the bench press. That was one of the first things that I learned when I started weightlifting. Okay? So that pretty much does it for the demonstration of that. Seemingly pretty simple stuff, but a couple of important points to remember. Butt tight, belly button pulled in to stabilize your center, your core. And then making sure that your shoulder blades, I didn't mention this, but making sure that your shoulder blades are squeezed together behind you and down your back. And that just creates a more stable shoulder. All right? I hope that you have found this helpful and that you can take these things and either improve or include them in your strength training routines. Remember that mobility or stretching is just as important as your strength training workouts. Keep going and keep growing. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.